Hi everyone, it's Geekly Gaming, and this is my voice. I know I don't talk very often. Did anyone of you check out Immature's stream, where you heard my wonderful, confused, mumbling voice? It was fun, and it was really awesome to see other maps and get to show off mine to someone, which was really fun. Anyway, I gave myself a challenge, and I've already started it here. I'm going to build a game mode in 1 hour. The thing I allowed myself to do is get some of the devices ready in my action bar. Failing that, I'm just making up as I go along. I did decide to do a capture the flag game because I've never done one and I figured it would be easy, and I think I'm entirely wrong on that subject. So instead of getting you to see me just go through a bunch of settings, this is me setting up capture area to what I think is going to be the right settings. I'll fast forward a bit and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so here's a successful test, right? I mean, I realized straight away that I don't see this capture area, so I'm going to have to change that setting. And I can see the flag, which I probably don't want to see, but basically that's working. So it's going to be just window dressing from this point on, right? Right? One thing I knew I wanted to do from the beginning was set it so that if you had the flag, then you'd have certain benefits as well as maybe certain hindrances. And I figured I wanted to have it so that they couldn't sprint, but they would have a faster deformation. So I wanted to change them to class if they're holding the flag. And I did this using a pulse trigger, which I'm setting up here, and a conditional button so that it's constant check and see if you're holding the flag. If you are, it will change you to class 2, which will have some bonuses. And if you don't, or you're not, it will change you to class 1, or keep you on class 1. This sort of works. A reminder for anyone who wants to do this, your pulse trigger needs to be set off by the player, so that it carries the player information so it knows who it's checking up against. You can do this by having them step on it as I did here, or as you do in the main game, spawn points or grid one, because it starts off at the beginning of the game and makes sure that they're always getting checked. I thought that the run speed alone wasn't going to be enough using the class settings, so I decided to put down a mutator zone so that for people of the class where they got the flag, they get an extra boost to running speed, and also a little bit of a jump bonus by lowering the gravity. I've wanted to do something with the Nitrodome props for ages. I might try saying that properly and say I've wanted to do something with the Nitrodome props. Nitrodome. Not a nice word. I've wanted to do something with a Thunderdome props for a while, and I figured since I needed an arena, this would be a good opportunity. I like the skateboard park layout of the curves, and just decided to scale them up a fair bit and lock them into place. Preferably not putting it halfway through the ground, but you know, it's easily done, right? I like the idea of using these sort of entrances for the teams, have them come on and have a good respawn point for them and everything. But then I realized that it introduces problems. Do I have barriers? Do I stop people from dropping the flag inside the barrier to confuse things? In the end, I decided to get rid of them, which brought around this piece of frustration where they didn't line up. So I tried to change it, tried to do it, and also I remember this is now a long challenge, so I just scrap it and start again. I knew that I wanted to have the volume of the capture area visible, but I didn't want to have the base visible. And I couldn't find the setting, probably because I was slightly rushed on this one. So instead I spent a long time trying to get it so I could build something over it instead of having that base visible. I decided to go with something that looked fitting. I'm not a big fan of it, but it forms a function. This way I can have the raised area where the volume is on the top, while also hiding the actual device. Putting down the floor here made me realize that this arena was far too big, and I needed something to fill it in so that it didn't look like a big open space. That's something that takes time, especially if you're trying to balance it by having it symmetrical. So I started messing around with some concepts of stuff that I thought could go in. I ended up liking the idea of having a capture area that was in a basin, like a kill zone. It went nowhere. First test in the actual arena, and it turns out, yes, my fears were realized. It's far too big and too empty, so mobility is going to be an issue, and I will completely fail to address it. Trying to fill out the arena with what felt like a lot of time left, but really isn't. This stuff takes a long time to do it properly. I didn't have a long time, so I didn't do it properly. Deciding on a weapon pool was actually pretty tricky. I had designs on doing something clever so I could update it in one place and have it propagate through different spawners or pickups. Then I realized I had very little time left and went with just spamming some weapons. In hindsight, mobility would have been a good one to go with more. Chainsaw works well for it, and lessons have been learned. On the subject of lessons learned, copying and pasting your devices with events is awesome. It's been like this since events were introduced. So much better than using channels for anyone who's old enough to remember that. Just remember, the ones you copy in that selection will stay linked to each other and to other devices. So in this case, you only need to have one set per player, so that they've got their own pulse trigger. You don't need to have new class selectors or anything else because they'll all just connect up. Okay? I hope that makes sense. If it does, please put it in the comments and hopefully I'll understand. Cool. The time is really getting close to the end now, and I think I should have kept everything in. I've sped stuff up but not cut anything out, so you can see that this is all one continuous video, and you can only record an hour of video on the PlayStation, so you know that it does that. Although I did start a little bit late, so you missed the totality of me putting a barrier device on top. But at least it's working, right? The mobility is terrible. The map's too big, too empty. Really lucky I got a chainsaw the first time there because it helps out a lot. But it works, and it works after an hour. So we'll have a check out in a second. Okay, so the hour is now officially up. This is me having the first proper game, and I sort of realized that there is something slightly broken about it that I didn't intend. Let's see if you can spot the accidental error. Yes, it's too slow. I want to give some explosions a test. I do like the little health bar. And collecting the flag works. Unfortunately, I didn't realize that you can change weapons while holding the flag. I figured it would be stuck in your hand. So I need to do something about that, because one of the reasons I wanted to make it so you couldn't sprint is because I wanted people to be able to always see that you are the one holding the flag. And doing things like sprinting meant that you'd put it away and do the run animation. So being able to put it away and have it hidden in your inventory went against what I really wanted to do. So I'm going to have to try and do something about that without making them drop all their weapons when they pick it up. But that's if I ever decide to make this an actual map and release it. I might put it out if anyone wants to just play a very broken version of this. And yeah, thank you for watching. I hope the voice wasn't too distracting and was in fact a little bit educational. And if I get lots of positive feedback from my ego, I may actually talk on future videos a bit more. Thank you for your time. You are awesome. You're valued. And I really can't wait to see what you guys create. Thank you.